Hello everybody and welcome back to INSANEBRIT Gaming. I'm the INSANEBRIT and this is this week's News Friday, where I talk about all the week's gaming news, gaming topics and anime news if I find them. I give you my opinion and the facts kind of scenario. Whether you choose to take it or not is your choice, but I always recommend listening to the story and then my stay on it, you know, and then making your own opinion at the end of the day. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about politics. I know you may think, oh man, that's boring, but it does relate to gaming, and that is why I am talking about it. Donald Trump, I don't care if you support him or not, it's irrelevant at this point. I look at the statement and I call you a cunt, whoever says it anyway, regardless. So, he says that video games are the cause of violence and are helping create monsters. This is a tweet he sent out. There are statistics already disproving this anyway with scientific fact, but it does not actually, associate with violence. You know, I mean, I've been a gamer for 20 plus years and I haven't gone out and shot anybody or committed acts of violence because of a video game. It's bullshit, completely and utterly. I look at that kind of statement along with the politician who says that the weather's bad and there's tsunamis and hurricanes because gay people are getting married. God is angry. I look at you like you're a cunt in those two elements of statement. You know, I look at you in the same rhetoric, like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's complete bullshit. And basically what this is, he's trying to shift the blame from guns right now, losing sponsorship and affiliates with all their the NRA are now being disassociated with them. They're losing money, so he's trying to shift the blame onto video games. Now he's protecting the Second Amendment, which is the right, I believe, to bear arms, which is fine. I haven't got a problem with you doing that, but at the same time you're shifting the blame onto something that is completely and has nothing to do with it at all, and it's a load of shit. You know, if you look at any particular shooting, you look at the FBI do this, the police do this. People paint a picture of the situation. And let's give you a few scenarios. First and foremost, this is associating with the school shooting that happened recently, 17 children dead, when a student went in there and committed mass murder, whatever. A tragedy in itself, but you have to look at the root causes. So let's have a look at a few in the past, or just give you a few scenarios. When somebody, when a guy goes into his work and shoots his wife, and then, oh my God, he shot her and a few of her colleagues die. Terrible. Okay. Then okay, so that, oh, it's the gun's fault. Well, let's have a look at the situation. Yes, he had a gun, but at the same time, maybe he got divorce papers that day and maybe lost custody of his kids. Did it? Maybe a woman shot her husband, but it turns out he was beating her for years on end and finally snapped and picked up his gun and shot him, or got a gun herself and shot him. These are reasons that these things happen. And you look at like a terrorist attack, he's doing it for a terrorist reason. You do it for a nationalist reason, where he goes and kills a bunch of ethnic minorities and says white power. It's because it's a race issue, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You can call it domestic terrorism if you want, that's fine. But at the same time, it is a reason. It is painting a picture of who the person is, why they did it, and this is what you have to do with this situation. Not just blame video games. That's ridiculous. And you can't really just go and blame guns. There's always legislation that can be put in place to stop them getting guns, X, Y, and Z, but they're always going to be able to get their hands on a gun regardless. Well, in theory, they can borrow one, steal one, whatever. It's America, they're flooded with guns anyway in that respect. So they're not really looking at the reason why this kid did it. Now, this particular individual who did this basically was a student. I believe he was being bullied. He was also an orphan. He was at an orphanage or something like that. And a lot of rage here, I assume. And if he's being bullied as well, and if the school, assuming, don't help you with bullying, and they're really shit at it, they can lie and say, oh, it's changed now, or they can just say, no, that's not true, it's an American system. I don't believe that for a second. A lot of the time when you are being bullied, you feel helpless when your parents show up, if they're at the school or whatever, and then they give you all the rhetoric to your parents' face, but nothing really ever changes anyway to a point. I believe this particular individual was very angry, and you don't just start to hate the person who's bullying you, you start to hate everybody and disassociate yourself. He's probably very isolated at this point. Plus, he was on medication, I believe, at one point, and he has gone on this and did this terrible thing, and blaming everyone. He hasn't targeted a specific classroom or a specific student. He's went and just done anyone, so he's a very angry person or whatever. Now, if you look at all the mass shootings that happened recently, they've all got one thing in common. Yes, you can say they've got mental health issues. I'm not blaming mental health for that. That might be part of it, but I'm not going to say, oh, he had mental health issues and that's why I killed everyone. No, there's a fundamental reason. Some instances, there may be that, but at the same time, there are also major instances where it's not that. It's just everyone has a bad day kind of thing. Somebody snaps, whatever. But the thing they have in common is they've all gone through doctors, and they've all been on record as having mental health issues or in depression, anxiety, panic attacks, who knows, whatever those issues may be, and they've all been on certain drugs and everything else. This is a pattern forming, repressive drugs for emotion, all the rest of it, and you're kind of like, well, they're all on these drugs, but I kind of think they're suppressing it, but it's slowly building up, and there's a theme there. So maybe it's the drugs doing it. You know what I mean? In itself, like you look at Chris Benoit, who killed his family. You know, he was on a load of drugs, prescription pills, like taking a hell of a lot of them, and he was addicted to them. These things happen in general, but these are fundamental things that could all be associated with what's happened. But rather than look at the root source and the problem, they've actually just said, no, fuck it, it's video games. And you know, everybody else out there, like us, who are just playing video games, enjoying them, having fun, some dick's going to come along and then ruin it. But essentially, going back to my main point, is he's deflecting from the NRA and all the rest of it, about gun ownership and legislation being put forward, and then blaming the shift on video games to take the heat off, which is wrong. It's a scapegoat, and it's complete and utter bullshit. And I don't believe it for a second. And we're all smarter than that. The media as well are pushing the agenda, using kids to push their political agenda and everything else. They want legislation, blah, blah, blah. I get it. They want legislation. It's tragedy, and they're fighting for their friends. I get that. But at the same time, you have to wonder. I don't like the mainstream media because they're hypocrites and fucking, they don't report on certain things because it doesn't fit their narrative. This is just fact. I've said this before, I'll say it again. If you're talking about gun violence, then why aren't you talking about all the mass shooting, all the shootings that are going on in Chicago? Loads of people dying each week over the course of months and months. It builds up, but they're not saying anything about that. It's not national news. It's not international news. Nothing's being said about it because it doesn't fit their political ideology, their political stance right now. They don't want to show that people, it's black on black crime in Chicago mostly. All these killings are going on, but they don't fit their political narrative. They're not going to report it. If you look in South Africa, I retweeted a picture, you can check it out on my Twitter, of a little girl in South Africa with her face slit from ear to ear because she's white. They're doing that, and they're killing white people and taking their land. Is anybody reporting on it? Like mainstream media? Are they fuck? Because it doesn't suit their political narrative, and this is just fact. So it's all bullshit when it comes to the political spectrum of this gun video game violence kind of scenario. It's all horseshit, and I hope you guys don't believe it, and I call bullshit. I don't know what they're going to try and do, dumb down the games, put a higher tax on them. I don't know. They're trying to do some kind of bullshit to punish us, and we're fucking innocent in the whole thing in itself. Next story. I'm sorry to talk about politics, and I know I went a bit of a rant there, but it is what's going on, and let's just give you my opinion and what's going on. I mean, take it or leave it. The next story I want to talk about is PlayStation Plus. Basically have decided, I think it's March 2018, I believe, they're taking away the PS3 games. They're no longer giving you free PS3 games, which is a shame. I personally don't use the PS3 anymore. You can argue it's irrelevant at this point, but I know there are plenty of gamers out there who still own the PS3 and enjoy it, and I'm not denying that for one second. However, it seems like you're paying the same amount and you're getting less. At least that's what's happening right now, and I think a lot of people have a right to be angry about that. I don't think there's going to be a reduction in price for various reasons of inflation, keeping the updated version of the online spectrum of it, maintenance and stuff like that, the console maintenance, you know, like the online aspect of it. So I don't think they're going to drop the price. What I would like to see is them just simply replace it. So, for example, instead of getting one PlayStation 4 game every month, we get 2 PlayStation 4 games, and that'd be pretty cool. I don't think they're going to be doing that, and I say that because that would mean essentially 24 PS4 games in 2018 come to you, or 20 at this point, but let's call it 24, right? 24 PlayStation 4 games come our way. I think I've played 40 games since it's come out. Well, yeah. Like, literally, I've got 40 games on my new account, and I'm like, I've had the new account for a year, going on 2 years now, a year and like 2 months, But at the same time, you know, you see what I'm saying? Like, I've had it, like, the consoles in 2013, and I don't think I've played, like, I think on my original account I had 60 games. And that's like within 3 years. So the idea of them giving me 24 games for free a year, I don't think it's going to happen in terms of PS4 aspects. I think they give you 12 PS4 games because the rate they're coming out to the rate that you're actually going to be playing them is ridiculous. What, they're going to give me, I don't know, Batman this month, they're going to give me Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, Battlefield. They're not going to do that. They're too high-powered games. I don't think I would like to see them do that. In the quality of games improve. So, for example, I would love to see Prey, just say, for example, to be free. I would like to see what do you call it? The Evil Within. That'd be kind of cool to get that for free. A Resident Evil game, even though it might be an older one. I don't know, Resident Evil 5, 6. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. But you know what I mean? I'd like to think that the quality of games are going to go up. At least that's what I'm hoping in the idea. Let me know in the comment section if you think what ideas they could have to improve the PS Plus service at this point. Speaking of which, we're getting Bloodborne this month as well. Today, actually. Well, it's, Tuesday. So I might download that, and I might try giving that a go. And I was thinking about coming up with a new series called INSANEBRIT Tries, where I try a really hard game or a game that I'm not interested in playing, but I'm going to try it out and see how far I get. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section if you're interested in that. What else is there to talk about? Give me 1 second. Okay, Metal Gear Survive. Apparently sales are pretty poor. Apparently they are down 85%. That's lower than Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, or whatever it was called. Remember the one with Raiden? Piece of shit. I played it, but it wasn't that good. Alright, let's see what else we can talk about here. Speaking of Sony, because we were just on that, let's talk about Sony. Apparently Sony is doubling down on PlayStation exclusives in corporate reshuffle. There's been a reshuffle at Sony. I'll read the article in full. Sony has reiterated its commitment to first-party franchises as part of an organizational reshuffle that will see some of its most forward-facing executives promoted up the corporate ladder. Sean Layden, who will continue to front Sony Interactive Entertainment America, and act as the chairman of Worldwide Studios, will concentrate his focus on providing platform-defining content for the company. According to a press release, the firm's mission is to create and develop the most attractive and powerful first-party titles. Has become more important than ever. And I agree with that sentiment at this point. I said that the Xbox has games that the PlayStation has, and I'm just like, I can play them on whatever console. There's no reason for me to get the other console other than the exclusives. Xbox only has 2 games in Halo and Gears. And PS4 has so much more. Nier Automata, what else we got? Flipping, man. I'm trying to think of a few others we have now. The Last of Us, I think the Uncharted series as well, being one of them. You got Knack, that's 4 games off the top of my head, and I'm not even really going into it. I think, Second Son, Infamous Second Son, whatever, for example, again, Bloodborne being one of them as well. So, you know, that's 5 or 6, and I'm only really thinking off the top of my head. I'm not even going down the list specifically. So, and that's going to be the draw into whatever console you're going to play. And I suggest, because you can play most games on both, you can buy the PS4, get those exclusives, and then every other game just floods in. And you know, I like the trophy system better anyway on PlayStation. I just find it a lot more friendlier, and I also don't feel they're money mad, but again, that's my opinion considering. Anyway, pushing on with the article, that's a pretty reassuring statement for fans of PlayStation exclusives. As announced earlier this year, Gian Bryan has been promoted to Deputy President of Head of Global Sales and Marketing, meaning the company's various regions will all report directly to him. While fans have been critical of some of Ryan's comments in the past, it's perhaps worth remembering that he has led PlayStation Europe to its strongest position in over a decade. He's pretty darn good at his job. Again, that's the actual article, the guy writing the article saying that himself. Elsewhere, Phil Rosenberg, a long-time PlayStation veteran, has been appointed head of global publisher and developer relations, while Hideki Nishoni has been promoted to head of platform planning and management. Many of these changes will go into effect on the 1st of April. It's a lot to wrap your head around, but perhaps won't mean all that much for us consumers. But the company believes that these changes will help them remain leader in a constantly evolving business environment. That's true. You have to develop, you know, it's a fast-paced industry, so you have to keep moving, keep developing, adapt or die is the business motto. And one of the other stories I have right now at this point, if there's any more stories, guys, I'll add them on to this video. The next Battlefield game, now I spoke about this, and I wasn't too sure of the era it was going to be set in, and apparently it's going to be set in World War II route. That's going to be World War II. According to a new report, this year Battlefield's game will be set in World War II. It's going to be called Battlefield 5 and was known internally as Battlefield 2 before DICE changed the name. The information comes from VentureBeat report, which confirmed that a leaked image of the game title and screen below is in fact real. It's basically got dev build Battlefield V, welcome to your Battlefield, you know, the typical welcome to your Battlefield that you always see when you put on the game. The report also says that the choice of the era was decided some years ago when DICE knew it needed to take a break from the modern military shooter games. The plan was to release a World War I game and follow it up with World War II. A World War II one in case World War I isn't received well. Battlefield 1 obviously was well received and went on to become one of the series' best-selling entries. You know what, I'll continue with the article before I get back to that. Not counting the Battlefield 1943 spin-off, the only other mainland Battlefield game set to be World War II in the very first Battlefield 1942, which came out in 2002. EA confirmed earlier this year in an earnings report that the next Battlefield is coming this October. The game will also be playable at EA Plays event, which takes place just before E3 2018, which I said last week. Okay, so there's a couple of things here, at least from my perspective. Battlefield 5 in World War II. New planes, new weapons, whatever, but still old school in the World War genre or whatever. I'm kind of frustrated on the basis that I've just played Battlefield 1 and I weren't that impressed. The stories were good, the gameplay was good and everything, but it was a little bit boring, but that was their choice of missions with... I played a tank mission for 2 hours. That was the first mission. I'm like, Jesus. Then I had a sneaking mission. You started off with two of the most boring missions. Like, you've got to go fast-paced action, get me into it, and then give me a tank mission, like the 4th mission in. Give me a sniper mission, 6th mission in. And, you know what I mean? And go down that route. I felt the stories were interesting stories because there are so many stories to tell, but they didn't fixate on one narrative, which I couldn't follow the story. They were just a bunch of individual stories, and I kind of feel I get what they were doing, but I kind of feel they missed a trick there, because when they go back to World War II, they can tell different stories in their campaign, etc., etc., if they're going to focus on this a little bit. I am kind of frustrated that I have to play Battlefield 1, Call of Duty World War 2 or whatever, and then I go to another Battlefield game which is in the same era, and I'm like, my God, I've just finished playing Battlefield 1. So that's 3 World War 2 games, whatever, or old school war games, in a year, more or less. You know what I mean? Assuming I get to play the Battlefield in, you know, when it comes out. But whatever, you know what I mean? I've tried to break up these shooters up over the past few weeks and months and stuff like that, which I will continue to do. But it just feels a little bit frustrating to me. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, I don't really want a modern military game as well. So I don't know. It is what it is. Having it being popular doesn't surprise me because of the fact that the original one was in that era. So you know, good luck to them in that aspect. Well, guys, that is all the news stories I have for now. Disagree, don't agree, whatever, agree, disagree, it doesn't really matter. Let me know in the comment section. I'm going to cut the camera off now, and then if I find any more stories, I will add them on, and, yeah, so catch you in a bit. Hey guys, welcome back. Lucky I waited a couple of days to add more stories onto this video because a bunch of breaking news stories popped up. I reported a few weeks ago about Call of Duty Black Ops 4 supposed to be rumored, and essentially they have confirmed that via their YouTube channel with a reveal trailer or sneak trailer. Launch happens on October 12th, and there's a community reveal event on May 17th. From what I can see from the trailer, they've gone back to modern. There's an RC car and some drones and stuff like that. So whatever. I've always enjoyed the Black Ops series anyway. It's one I properly got to grips with after jumping off SOCOM Confrontation, and I really enjoyed that. The FAMAS was my favourite weapon or whatever. But yeah, I did absolutely love that game, the Black Ops series. Right, so that's happening, obviously. I'm going to jump on the rumour mill of the PlayStation 5. I know I've reported on a few weeks ago, blah, blah, blah. But apparently, supposedly industry insider and video game news leaker Marcus Seller has been making headlines for the past couple of bold claims he made on Twitter. One claim that Nintendo would be hosting a Nintendo Direct presentation on Thursday, March 8th. It happened, by the way. And the other was that Sony has sent PlayStation 5 dev kits to third-party game developers earlier this year. Sellers didn't provide any kind of evidence of the source, however, how he obtained this information. So his claims should be taken nothing more than rumours. However, Sellers does have a reputation for accurately leaking video game news, and while he's wrong about some things, he is also right about oddly specific details. For example, Sellers is one of who originally leaked the existence of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and supposedly the Switch port, and now there's more evidence has cropped up in support of that claim. Sellers also was the one who revealed that Metroid Prime 4 is being co-developed by Nintendo and Bandai Namco, a claim that has since been corroborated by sources close to the project to Eurogamer. Since some of the information Sellers was leaked in the past has turned out to be accurate, it does tend to lean to a bit more credibility to his claim about the PlayStation. Helping his case is that Sony recently filed a patent for backward compatibility technology that seems like it's meant to be for the PS5, so it's not entirely unreasonable to think that the PS5 dev kits may already be in hands of some third-party game developers. If PS5 dev kits are already being used to third-party developers, then it's likely that the console will have be revealed or released at some point in 2019, if not earlier. This would be in line with the previous prediction of analysts who have suggested that PlayStation 5 will in fact be released in 2019, and stating that the PS5 will have backward compatibility, no less. Now this gets interesting. Patcher also pointed to the PlayStation 5 being less than $500, but before fans get too excited, it's important to note that none of this has been confirmed by Sony until Sony decided to pull back the curtain on the PlayStation 5. Sony fans should take the claims of the console with a grain of salt. So it's just hype at this point, but at the same time, I kind of believe it. It makes perfect sense. I wouldn't be surprised if they announce something in E3 or something in 2018, and then they have a year build-up of hype, and then the PlayStation 5 gets released next Christmas. It would not surprise me. They seem to release consoles near the Christmas time or period or whatever, and you'll be pre-ordering at the end of 2018 or whatever, or even moments after E3. I mean, I'm not sure of that. It's just speculation, but it kind of makes sense. How do you feel about the PlayStation 5 being coming out? Well, I'm already content with the PlayStation 4. I'm happy with the PlayStation 4. I don't feel it needs an upgrade, but technology moves faster than what I want, you know what I mean? It is the way it is. They've got these new versions of the GTX NVIDIA graphics card and stuff like that. It was like 1080 or whatever. Now it's like, oh man, I can't remember the actual number, 2000 or something that's coming out. It's a new series coming out, so technology moves fast and it gets better and better, especially with 4K, better integrated. And the fact that the backward compatibility is going to be integrated into the PlayStation, I'm liking the idea of that. I think that's a good thing, something that's been missing. I hope they don't implement it like like Xbox does. I mean, I hope you can just have the game and then put your disc in, and then that'd be it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I don't know. I just hope that it don't go down too much that route, like they release bit by bit. That's going to be kind of annoying. I would like to see a whole collection there in one go, so I don't have to wait around for my specific game. But I don't know. I think that may end up happening anyway. I mean, I don't know. That's just wishful thinking on my end, hoping that we get it now, being the consumer/customer. But I don't know. So that's an interesting rumor happening, and I think that will happen. I mean, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's just when. Next up is the Grand Theft Auto 6. Is apparently supposedly being made and will take place in Vice City. Okay, so let's go down the article here. Blah 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 blah. Blah blah blah. Hold on, sorry, it's just telling me the story. I don't need to know the story. Okay, so basically a popular YouTuber channel by the name of The No has suggested the next game could be out in 3 or 4 years, so around 2021, 2022, and will be set in between Vice City and South America. Well, this makes sense based on the fact that 5 or 6 years it took to make the previous game. It wouldn't be a stretch to say it will come out, you know, in 3 or 4 years' time, because they've got other projects as well. Not only that, if the PlayStation 5 is coming out, they're going to want to. They are probably working the base level on those specs, and they're going to build on that. So yeah, should be interesting. These guys have reportedly previously revealed about Dark Souls 3, and that correctly happened before. However, Rockstar Games, who make GTA series, are a bit harder to predict since they very rarely allow leaks. Makes sense. A lot of what goes on behind Rockstar HQ is top secret and never gets out until they exactly want it to. But that does stop speculation, of course, blah, blah, blah. So at this point, it is just speculation, but at the same time, again, like the PlayStation 4, I think it's inevitable that it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. Sorry, guys. I'm coughing and everything here. Alright, I'm back. So yeah, we've had Call of Duty reveal, we've had Grand Theft Auto 6, we've got 3 more stories, and one of them being that Tom Clancy's, another big game released, has been, you know, IGN reported on this, a bunch of other places as well. Tom Clancy's The Division 2 has been announced. No real details on the game have been revealed, but we know that the sequel, my bad, I'm skimming it. The sequel will run on an updated version of the Snowdrop engine that powered the original Division 2 years ago, as well as Mario and Rabbids, whatever that is. As ever, several Ubisoft studios will support the lead developer, in its case, Ubisoft Anarchy, Red Storm, Reflections, Ubisoft Bucharest, and Ubisoft Shanghai. On an official Division stream today, Massive said that there would be no further details until E3 2018. Creative director Julian Guerreri, if I got the pronunciation right, has said that the sequel will take everything we learned from the past 2 years and applying it towards the sequel, make sure that we get it right. This news doesn't come as huge news, a huge surprise. While Massive has made much of its support for the original game, managing director David Profrate has previously hinted that a sequel could be on the way. I think it's wonderful, a wonderful brand that has so many potential stories in it. There are a lot of things that we didn't do in Division 1 that we are interested in looking at for that brand. I definitely think there's a lot of space for continuation, which is beyond just keeping the Division online. This, however, is marked change in approach from Ubisoft service games with a long tail approach. Currently reaping the rewards for the French publisher, games like Rainbow Six Siege are aiming to run for 10 years or more, but it's still crazy to me. The original Division isn't coming to a close just yet. Massive also announced 2 final title updates, adding global events and 4 new legendary difficulty missions. Okay. That will be happening in... Grand Central will come in April, and Amherst. In April, there will also be an Xbox One X patch. It will bring the game up to 4K resolution. 2 more will come in June, alongside the ability to earn shields, achievements, and will unlock them items to use in the sequel. So that's pretty good. You're going to get rewarded for the next game if you unlock them in the older game. You'll be able to play them in the new game. It doesn't surprise me. I'm not going to shit on Division. I just didn't play it. I played the demo. It was okay. It was a multiplayer game. I didn't stick with it. Had a story, build up your base and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not too sure if I'll play it. I don't know. It just doesn't. It's not my cup of tea. It's not my kind of thing. But whatever, each to their own. But it's nice to know we've got another game coming out regardless, and see what they can do. And I hope they have a better ending than a helicopter battle at the end. Oh god, that looks shit. But hey, that's just my opinion, right? Next up, we have 2 other games. Life is Strange. Now, you may be thinking, dude, why are you talking about Life is Strange? You didn't play the first one or the last one that came out. Actually, I have played the first one, and I will be playing the second one in about a month's time, probably. It's a shorter version, so I use it to break up some gameplay, but I'm definitely looking for Life is Strange for the next one. The next Life is Strange has a new story and characters to be detailed in the coming months. In May 2017, Square Enix announced that a new Life is Strange game is being developed by Dortmund Entertainment, separate from Life is Strange Before the Storm, which just happened today. Developer Deck 9 Games. By Deck 9 Games, sorry, well, I've never heard of before. In a post on the game's official Tumblr, Square Enix said, "We now look forward to the coming months, where Michael Koch and Raul Babetz, again, pronunciation of that name, team returns to present the new story and characters for next Life is Strange. Actual details about Life is Strange, including its title, platform and release window, has yet to be announced." Well, it's nice to know that there's going to be new characters in this universe. Remember, like the Far Cry series, or Grand Theft Auto, or Life is Strange, whatever, they're just titles of the games. They can tell all kinds of different manners of stories, which is fantastic, and I cannot wait to see what they do. Of course, the main feature of the previous one is the girl could stop time. I don't think they're going to go that same route, or at least I don't think they will. But it's going to be interesting. They have good stories, interesting characters. Sorry guys, I've still got this cough. But I'm definitely going to be playing that at some point. So that's going to be interesting. Probably be episodic. But me, I wait till it all comes out anyway, and then I play it in one go. The last story I have here is ironic, actually. Is Crash Bandicoot comes to the Switch. Now, don't get me wrong, this will be a good fit, and I think it's a very good thing for the Nintendo Switch, but at the same time, when does this come out, actually? July 10th for the Switch being announced today during Direct's briefing. The remaster package comes with an updated version of Crash Bandicoot, Cortex, Strike Back, and Warped. These games were originally developed by Naughty Dog and went on to create a decidedly different Uncharted and Last of Us franchise kind of thing, you know? I've got to be honest with you, I'm kind of, hold on, December, but I'm kind of disappointed. It gets interesting because Crash Bandicoot I always thought was a PlayStation thing. You had Sonic with Sega, Mario with Nintendo. These were three iconic characters, and PlayStation never really had anything like Crash Bandicoot. It was the only one, and he was widely successful. A lot of people remember Crash Bandicoot from their childhood in the 1990s or whatever. And while Sonic is legendary and goes on, Mario is never out of your eyesight with their specific console. I always felt that Crash Bandicoot was Sony's thing and they should have pushed on, but of course upon getting older and everything, you learn that he weren't Sony owned. He was owned by Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog do X, Y and Z, and they never really pushed on with it. I'm surprised we even got the HD version of Crash Bandicoot series in itself. It's nice that loads of kids and everything and this generation could experience Crash Bandicoot, and there's a rumour to be another Crash Bandicoot coming out separate to that Insane trilogy in the next year or two, which is a good thing. But at the same time, as a PlayStation fan, I feel they kind of dropped the ball with Crash Bandicoot for the longest for the longest time. And he's been out of our sight, out of mind, and you've lost generations of kids who could have loved Crash Bandicoot like the kids loved Mario, you know what I mean, or whatever, and I feel kind of disappointed in that. I know it weren't Sony owned, it was Naughty Dog, but at the same time, I wish they would have pushed ahead, and we would have got more games of Crash Bandicoot, you know what I mean? But hey, maybe that's just me looking at nostalgia, but, you know, considering, now we've got Knack, oh god, whatever, I'm not, which I do like. I'm not enjoying Knack. I think Knack 2 isn't as good as the first Knack, in my general opinion, but I'm still currently doing that playthrough. That's just my general opinion on it thus far, with not as good as character writing and everything else, and the story is meh, you know, up until the ending, I would say, maybe. Anyway, guys, that is going to be it for this week's News Friday. I hope you enjoyed all my stories and everything else. Sorry if it went on for a bit long, but like I said, there was a fuck ton of stories out to talk about. You know, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Links are in the description below for that, social media. And then I've just completed Tomb Raider. I've still got Knack 2 up on my channel. You can click the annotations, and you know, whichever one takes your fancy, or whatever. I don't know if there's going to be a food review this week. Maybe next week though, definitely. But I can't promise anything. I will also have an unboxing coming up over the next few weeks, but at the same time, I got it's an anime. I've got to watch it, and then I'll review it as well. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.